Hey folks, happy summer. I'm coming to you tonight because I've been watching all this drama that unfolded over the last several hours with the National Association of Realtors. Those of you who don't know what's going on with the National Association of Realtors, the National Association of Realtors and their members were sued for keeping commissions high by violating Sherman antitrust rules and regulations. And they were found guilty of doing such. So now is the punitive stages where now they're asking all the big brokerages and all the other people who are coming forward and asking them to come up with the cash in order to do the settlement. The initial settlement was something like $1.78 billion. And what happened after that was what we call a legislative, legal, litigious paperwork nightmare where if you have 5,000 sheets of paper and they're all nicely stacked and you have to present them uh, into a board meeting the next day, and all of a sudden you tripped, fell, and they flew out the window and everywhere else, and now you have to put them all back together. That's exactly what's happening. Now uh, you have MLSs who are making rules saying that you have to have uh, buyer commissions. You have to, and you know what, you'll always hear somebody will say, oh well, they were always negotiable. Well, in the three firms that I was at, one, this is our standard commission. We don't go away from that because that's what the NAR says. The second one says we don't want to ever go and say we don't do a we don't want to get rid of a buyer's commission because we don't want to be the cheap ones. And the third one was, oh, well, we're going to continue doing the business that we're doing until such time as the NAR tells us what to do, which is the whole reason why there was this culture from the NAR where the brokerage is saying, well, you know what, we're all independent brokers, but we are going to wait for the NAR to tell us what to do. Well, if the NAR is telling you what to do, you're not independent brokers, and none of you are independent contractors. I hate to tell you that, and I dare any of you to fight me on it. So the whole problem is that now you have the MLSs trying to come up with policies that will get the Department of Justice off their back. You have the National Association of Realtors doing stuff to try to get the Department of Justice off their back. You have all of these brokerages that are changing their rules and regulations, trying to get the Department of Justice off their back. And it all boils down to this. If a real estate broker comes in and says, oh, well, you need to paint this, you need to replace this, you need to do this in order to make it marketable. And here is what our commission is. And it seems like it's way out there, like north of a 5-6%, then you need to just kick them out. Because here's what I have been doing for the last 4 years. One is I represent the seller. I represent the seller, and I represent the seller at my percentage point. I do not pay the buyer's agents. And I've said this in another video. If I have to represent you, that's how much I pay you for. That's how much you pay me. If I have to pay the buyer, then you're going to double your commission just so we can split it. And then it gets split each way until finally the real estate broker gets only about that much. But still, I represent you at this percentage. Now, I will tell you that you have the option of offering a buyer's compensation, a buyer's agent compensation. And a lot of these real estate brokers will tell you, and they will steer. And what I mean by steer is, well, if you don't offer us any buyer's compensation, we're not going to show your house. If I was not alive today to see this posted on Facebook where God and everybody can see it, if they were in the same room as me, I would shove my size 10.5 where the sun doesn't shine on these people, because they should not be in this profession, because that is sickening. That rips off sellers, it rips off buyers, and it rips off everybody else because of that unprofessional conduct. And that is why you need to find somebody who's an independent broker, not somebody who's an R. Professional, my butt. So, when you come with me, I have always been wired different. I represent the buyer, and I represent the buyer for a certain percentage, and I don't care who it is who brings me a buyer. If I find a buyer and bring it to you, then I reduce my commission. And you will have all of these companies who are going to strong arm you sellers into saying, well, these people who are doing discount commissions, you get what you pay for. Okay, well then explain to me this. If the National Association of Realtors was busted, found guilty of, and having to pay all of this money for keeping commissions high and violating Antitrust Act, then what were y'all doing that us people weren't? So most of the times they were charging 5 to 6 to 7 to 8%. Here I am, I'm charging 2%. Then they said, well, to represent our sellers, we're only going to charge 2 to 4%. Those are realtors, and they're still plotting to keep high commissions. They're going to come up with lies. They're going to say, well, we put it on the MLS. So do I. Well, we put it on comingsoonhomes.org. I create a website just for your house. 1 year. It's not that difficult. Well, we have multiple different people that we contact, and I got a database of 30,000 real estate brokers in the area. They all get an email saying, hey, this house just hit the market. If you have any sellers or buyers who are interested, please let me know, and I will get you access so you can go in and look. You're going to hear every single thing and every single excuse that they're going to try to claw onto. You remember how there was this cartoon of this person who had that one last fingernail on the cliff, and the fingernail started to give out, and they were trying to figure out a way of climbing back up so they're trying to do that with the sellers and trying to make it so the sellers still overpay those commissions. I'm still here charging the same commissions, and I'm not doing that coercion, and I am not doing any of that other garbage that they say in order to prove my value. I've gone on enough about it. All I'm going to say is that if you think you're going to get better service out of a 6% or 7% or an 8% R realtor, go with them. Because all I'm going to tell you is that portion of your money is going to go for that settlement. Whereas the portion that normally would go to that settlement from me will probably go to the American Legion or to some other local organization that could use it. It's up to you, folks. I am Matt Price. I am your auctioneer and I'm your real estate broker. I am wired differently. give me a call, 919-614-6288. It's all over the place. Have a great weekend.